Hi, I'm Mealey from Sevag Public Relations. We do the marketing and public relations for Main Line Rebuild. I'm here today with Scott Brehman of Main Line Rebuild. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So to begin, Scott, could you just tell us a little bit about Main Line Rebuild, who the principals are, any current projects you may be working on?
Main Line Rebuild was formed about 3 years ago between myself, Tom Harvey, and Mac Brand. Tom and I had been partners in another business venture since 1999, primarily involved in restoration and renovation of homes up and down the main line, large-scale renovations. We had always known of Mac's work. Mac and her husband Craig had done other projects of a similar vein, large-scale restorations, renovations. And we decided, really out of a product of the downturn in 2008, to focus on adaptive reuse of other structures, older structures on the main line. And out of that, we saw a demand for that type of product. And so we, in January of this year, we purchased a project in Narberth called Narberth Place. And it involved a very large 27,000 square foot all-stone 1929 church, a very large single-family home at 7,500 square feet. And we took that through the approval process in the borough of Narberth that ultimately yielded us 6 units in the church, condominium units, 3 units in the, we're calling the Brea house, and then a ground-up structure called Volclane Manor. So a total of 12 units there. And we broke ground in January, and we are due to deliver our first phase or wave of units shortly. Another project which we just purchased last week is called the Arbors at Athens in Ardmore. And it involves another stone church from the 20s and a small single-family home, parsonage building is what we're calling it, that we hope will yield us 5 units on that site as well.
So today we are at Gladwyne Commons on location. This is the Gladwyne Methodist Church, built in 1842. This is one of your current projects as well. After 2 years of on and off hearings, the Gladwyne project has finally been approved, and in a unanimous vote, 12-0. I can imagine that is a great relief for you.
Absolutely.
So the approval process for the Gladwyne project was a long and a difficult one. Could you explain why?
Well, I have to maybe digress a little bit. It just so happened 2 years ago in this very room, I attended a symposium that was run by the Lower Merion Conservancy. And it was extremely eye-opening to me. Basically, it was what was going on revolving around places of worship all over the country. And what was really a situation where churches were closing down at an amazing rate. In addition, they talked about statistics involving the city of Philadelphia proper. And at the time, there were about 1,000 churches that were operating within the city limits. And they estimated that about 20% would close within 10 years.
Wow.
And they were trying to get their arms, the symposium was trying to get their arms around what to do with these different places of worship. And at the time, we were considering purchasing the Oddfellows site right here in Gladwyne, and considering purchasing this site as well. And we knew that there was discussions within Lower Merion Township about an adaptive reuse or conversion ordinance that they were attempting to structure. And we felt that that was a major step forward, given the fact that at the time there were 9 closed churches within Lower Merion Township proper. And the commissioners should be applauded for trying to get ahead of certainly an issue within the township. We decided to move forward with both projects here, both the Oddfellows site and the Gladwyne Methodist site. And the conversion ordinance was adopted in January of 2013. Here we march in spring of 13 with our development. And there was, obviously it was a process by which the community got involved, Obviously, the commissioners, with their adoption of the ordinance, got involved. And there was a process, a constructive process, by which we as a group dealt with a lot of difficult decisions, a lot of difficult issues. This obviously had a further issue. There was a cemetery that was involved.
Right.
My partner, Mac Brand, has already spoken about that. But so I think that it was just a process by which that the community voiced concerns.
Yes.
We worked with the various boards, Lower Merion boards, and ultimately came out with a dynamite project that will yield us a total of 8 units comprised in 5 buildings.
So the end result will be beautiful.
It will, and we're obviously very excited to get going.
So as a part of the public approval process, a hearing officer was used as a tool by the township to sort through the complicated application. And as a part of her findings, she stated the following: the applicant has blazed a preservationist path that should be emulated in Lower Merion, balancing a commitment to historic resources with sensitivity to neighborhood concerns, adequate but not too much parking, and an investment for property upkeep. John Keats wrote, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness." The applicant's plans for Oddfellows, the church, and parsonage protect lovely old buildings from nothingness, create precedent for future development in Lower Merion that preserves history and updates old structures for current productive use while protecting the surrounding community from detrimental effects upon public safety, health, and welfare. Wow, Scott, that is quite a quote. How does that make you feel?
It is, and we're obviously very pleased with her report. But I think the overriding feeling that I think the partners have is we're humbled by that. It is it's an amazing report, amazing quote that she came up with, and I think that it's also a charge to us. It is a responsibility that we have to make this project really something special. Gladwyne as a community is a very old one. The village has been here hundreds of years, and here we come with our development. And so I think that we have a tremendous responsibility. We accept it, but I think overall we're just very humbled and pleased with her findings.
Yes. So let's move towards talking about the development itself. So how many total buildings and units will there be?
Well, there'll be a total of 5 buildings and comprising a total of 8 units. The buildings, there are 3 existing buildings. If we want to start from, let's see, left to right, the existing parsonage building, is what we're calling it, is a 100-year-old twin that we will completely renovate. We will provide new windows, new siding. All the interiors will be gutted, and we will be bringing everything new from that point. The next structure will be the former Methodist church here, where we sit today. And this will be 2 units that will comprise about 3,000 square feet each, kind of front to back, where there'll be one in the front and one in the rear. There will be outdoor living space for both. And our architects, JTA, has done a phenomenal job with utilizing some of these soaring spaces to really have a dynamite space. Then we will have, let me see here now, this unit. This is one of our singles, which will flank the Oddfellows building. It will be a brand new structure. The neat thing here is we have about 2,500 square feet. There will be the ability to have a finished basement as an option, plus there's an option for an elevator.
Wow.
Then moving to the Oddfellows building itself, we are renaming it Fellows Hall. There will be 2 units in here, comprising 2,100 and 2,400 square feet respectively. And the neat thing here is that the buildings, because we have 3rd floor master suites, will come with their own elevators. There will be 2 car detached garages and some really neat green space behind this building.
Wow.
And finally, we have the last single that we're calling will be essentially a reverse of the other single. Again, the same features will be contained in there. What we've attempted to do with the singles is to make them feel and look as if they have always been here. Our architects took a lot of time to examine the existing houses on the street and to try to come up with something that fits in with the neighborhood. And we think we've done that.
That's great. So you will use the 3 existing structures and then add 2 new ones as well that will all kind of resemble the historic feel of the neighborhood, correct?
That's the goal.
Okay, great. So we all know when we're purchasing a house, we like to have a say in the interior furnishings of where we're going to live. Is this a possibility for the future residents of these units?
It is. We believe that our concept of how to deal with these condominium units is a little unusual in the marketplace. What we do is we obviously have already fixed layouts. In addition, I take the time to meet with our cabinet manufacturers and I design a kitchen, I design the bathrooms. I spec a cabinet. I either then spec or set a series of allowances that the buyer will have for all the interior finishes, everything from lighting to tile to granite, etc. And but as I always say, I'm not going to live here. Right. So the buyers will have the opportunity to visit with our vendors and select what they want.